Yo, what's going on today, guys? It is Rick and Ryan here today with RR Sports. We are going to be giving you guys our predictions for the 2023 MLB season with player awards today. So, player awards, we're going to be going through the Rookie of the Year, the Cy Young, and the MVP. Obviously, the three major awards in baseball. So, we're going to jump right into it. Ryan, who do you have going in the Rookie of the Year? We have not talked about any of these, by the way, yet. So we're going to have three different players probably, or see how similar they show up because we are twins and kind of think alike. So, Ryan, what do you got for NL Rookie of the Year?
All right, so super interesting rookie class. A lot of top prospects coming through. Just going through straight off the gambling odds, obviously, love Jordan Walker. He's the favorite to win this year. I would say he's my favorite as well. He just has never shown he's never shown the inability to hit. He's always been able to just crush the ball every level he's been at. He's killing it in spring training. I don't see him slowing down. I think he has a really strong shot of winning the award this year. Next on the gambling odds, they're both actually at +4. They're actually both +400, Jordan Walker and Corbin Carroll. But I think Corbin Carroll has a legitimate shot too because of the speed factor. He might go out and steal, 30 plus bases. Does have power. Can kind of do it all type of scenario. And then I'm not getting tricky with the NL Rookie of the Year. I'm just straight up. I think the three favorites are the three favorites. Miguel Vargas is going to get his chance to start in LA, and again, another player who's just had such a good minor league career. And with his small sample size last year, he did show some signs that he can definitely perform at the MLB level. The numbers aren't telling all the truth because he did have gaps between his ABs. I don't know, he's probably hitting every third or fourth game. So obviously, if you look at his stats from last year, you're like, oh, why Miguel Vargas? Because he just wasn't getting consistent at bats. And then my one sleeper I will put out there, and I'm not even sure why, but I was going through looking at the gambling odds. Gabriel Moreno is not even listed as a possible candidate in the NL Rookie of the Year. And just yesterday, oh my God, what's the D-backs catcher's name?
Moreno?
That got hurt. Oh my God. I literally just drawing a blank.
I don't know.
What the heck is his name? Carson Kelly. And with the news of Carson Kelly being out up to a couple of months now with a fractured forearm, Gabriel Moreno is actually going to slide in that starting role day one for the Diamondbacks. They already came out and said it. They wanted to ease him into the season, but with Carson Kelly going down, basically he's the starter now. And again, a player who
Dude rakes.
has never not hit well, I think is a big sleeper. I am shocked that he's not even an option to bet on FanDuel at least. Yeah, Gabriel Moreno, he's a 300 hitter. He has a chance to be one of the best hitting catchers in baseball, and I think he starts off his real rookie season with the Diamondbacks getting full amount of ABs really strong. So I think he's going to be up there in that conversation too.
All right, cool. And so obviously Moreno, that's a great sleeper pick. As we're both D-backs fans around here, lots of hype behind him, big time bat. We'll see what ends up happening because we all know catchers figure out how not to hit in MLB, but hopefully he can stick to it. My picks were, if I were to list them 1 through 3, I had Corbin Carroll at 1. I think the talent's just off the charts, just the speed, everything that you want. He's going to put up numbers. So I think on like a bad year for him, he's going to go hit 20 home runs and steal 30 bases this year, maybe 40 bases. I think that's like a bad year for him as long as he stays healthy. Jordan Walker.
We'll see if he can find the power.
Yeah. Next, I had Jordan Walker on there. Like Ryan said, he's just successful at every level he's been at. I think that is the safe pick if you are looking for a Rookie of the Year candidate. Can't go wrong with it. And then I actually had a different one at my number 3 here. I had Kodai Senga. I don't know if that's how you pronounce his first name, but pitcher from Japan. He's like 29 years old. Great resume. He's been pitching in the Japanese professional league since he was 19. And I think that's someone that a lot of people are not looking forward to as like a giant prospect because he doesn't have like the off the charts numbers like Ohtani and stuff like that. That's throwing 100. But I think from his numbers in Japan, he's got like a career 2-something ERA. So he might just come in and surprise some people.
Yeah, Senga's definitely a great choice, and it's definitely easier for a pitcher to win Rookie of the Year than say MVP. So yeah, I definitely could see a possibility there.
Yeah. And so going into the AL Rookie of the Year,
Rick,
what?
do you have a sleeper pick?
I actually do not.
Rookie of the
I
Year?
actually do not have any sleepers for the Rookie of the Years because I think that there's just so many prospects. It could just be anyone, honestly. So if you have some sleepers, throw them out there. You know a little bit more about prospects than me, but for the time being, like they're just going to throw the top prospects up on there. So I figure.
Yep. All right, AL Rookie of the Year. So I'll jump into my picks right now. So the favorite on FanDuel at plus 240 is Gunnar Henderson. I actually don't even have him in my top 5. And
Ooh.
I'm going to get a lot of flack for this. I know I am. But look it up. Gunnar Henderson cannot hit lefties. He cannot hit lefties. And yes, I've always been a hater on Gunnar Henderson, and he proved me wrong last year. He became the number 1 prospect in baseball. But go back and look at his minor league numbers. He hit less than 210 against lefties.
That's bad.
Like
Oof.
bad. Absolutely rakes righties. And if you're going to end up being a possible platoon player, you're not going to win Rookie of the Year. You're just not. And he showed it last year that he also cannot hit lefties at the pro level, or I guess the MLB level. When he did come up, he hit like a $110 or something. It was terrible. Like basically, if you're betting against, if you want to bet under bases, bet on under bases when Gunnar Henderson's facing a lefty. Like it's basically free. So I don't have him in my top 5. So what I have right now is I think Masataka Yoshida is the favorite in the AL Rookie of the Year.
That's what I have too.
Yeah, he rakes. I mean, he
a lot of experience too.
Awesome in Japan, ton of experience. And he showed in the World Baseball Classic that he can absolutely rake legitimate MLB arms. I mean, I think he hit like 430 in the World Baseball Classic. So he's got a smooth swing. He can go all parts of the park. He has power. Like I definitely think he's the front runner. I think he's the safest pick. I also love Grayson Rodriguez. He's finally getting the chance to make his MLB debut this year. And he's electric. He's arguably the best strikeout pitcher we've seen in a very long time coming out of the minor leagues. His K rate is just absolutely insane. And he doesn't walk people as well. So he doesn't really have that, Hunter Green, Randy Johnson, where, he's going to strike out 250 guys, but he's also going to walk 90 batters. So Grayson Rodriguez, absolute stud there. And then my number 3, and honestly, I think Hunter Brown is so underrated. Hunter Brown for the Astros has absolutely dominated in the minor leagues. He came up at the end of last year, had good success at the MLB level, and he is a stud. He is a potential ace. He's a number 1 in the future for this Astros rotation. He is ridiculous. Hunter Brown, I will be shocked if he's not in the top 3 for voting by the end of the year.
All right. Yeah, I do like that. Ryan with 2 pitchers there. A little bit different than I went with on this. I had Yoshida as my number 1, like I said. Just can't go wrong with him. He has a ton of experience under his belt. Big time WBC. He's coming in off a little hot streak here. And then I had Gunnar Henderson at 2. I didn't even think about the lefty platoon situation with how coaches are nowadays. That is something that they legitimately could do with him. I hope they don't do it, but
I don't think they will, but
it's legit. It's legit. If you're going to hit 200 against them and then hit 300 against righties, I mean, we've seen it do with past All-Stars before. So it could easily happen to him. And then
just really quick, the Gunnar Henderson thing is weird to me because like people, when I talk about prospects on the channel, they always bring up the people that platoon and suck against lefties if they're lefty batters. Like even someone brought up Corbin Carroll recently, but like Corbin Carroll last year hit 260 against lefties. Like that's not bad. Like that's
reasonable,
doable. That's reasonable. But like Nolan Jones is another guy that I love that was terrible against lefties, and just everyone seems to like put on their blinders for Gunnar Henderson with the platoon, and it's weird to me.
Yeah, that's a great point. And more and more we're seeing analytics take over baseball, so I'm sure that is something that is legitimately a big concern right now for the Baltimore organization. So, and then number 3 for me, I just really, really liked how his ABs went last year in the MLB. I have Tristan Casas. How do you say his last name? Casas. I have him at number 3. I just really loved his ABs, and the dude's a moose. Like, he's ginormous. I thought he had great patience in the box. He didn't have the greatest, like, average last year and stuff like that for the Red Sox. But I thought the ABs that he was taking deep counts. I think there's a lot of great acknowledgement of what pitch is going to be coming to him. And I think that he's going to hit at least 30 bombs this year.
Yeah, I think Tristan Cassis is a legitimate top prospect. He's been in the top 20 for, I think, the past 2 seasons now. Like you said, last year he struggled a little bit, but I think Cassis is a guy that is going to take a little bit of time. But with getting MLB at bats last year, he's hitting like over 350 in the spring. Like you said, he has a good eye. He's a moose. He has a ton of power. I could definitely see it. Like he could come out. He could, like you said, he could hit 30 plus this year easily.
Yeah, easily. And he could even do some crazy stuff and like go try to hit 40, like, and that would easily win you a rookie of the year. So
yeah. And so then for sleepers for the AL, it's a lot harder, I think, in the AL than the NL really. You do have more options. Like Anthony Volpe could potentially make his come up or his debut, but there's just a bunch of guys that are kind of like what ifs. Like Royce Lewis is still eligible for the Rookie of the Year award. But I think if I had to go legitimate sleepers, you have Taj Bradley, who I recently talked about on the channel. He's a stud. He's going to get his chance this year. But then you also have Jason Dominguez with his spring hype. Again, it's a lot in the AL. It's a lot of when are they going to make their debut?
I was going to say, do we think he's going to debut this year?
Based on the betting odds, they think he's going to. But that's another kind of a freaky athlete that could possibly make a splash. Another one which is interesting to me is at the very bottom of the betting odds at plus 15,000 is Pedro Leon. The dude is a stud. Does have a little inconsistencies, but he did make my minor league recap a few times last year, which is freaky good week. So he's super streaky. So plus 15,000 is kind of nuts to see him down there.
All right, cool. So those are the Rookie of the Year candidates that we think that are going to be really good. Going now, we're going to go straight into Cy Young. So Cy Young, AL Cy Young, I'm going to start it off here. I personally think that there is a big time sleeper that a lot of people aren't talking about yet. He's in the top, let's see, he's not the number 1 guy in this, but he's a little bit further down the list. He's the 6th person on the Cy Young favorites right now. Carlos Rodon. Pitching in New York as a strikeout pitcher is definitely the kind of guy you want there. But
oh God.
But people sleep on this guy. He has one of the nastiest sliders in the game. He has a devastating fastball. Ryan, you cannot tell me that this is not a favorite to win the Cy Young this year. You just can't. How?
He's on the list.
He's getting
for
better.
A reason. He's on the list for a reason, but no one ever goes into New York and succeeds their first season. It's just not going to happen. He's randomly going to forget how to throw strikes or something.
Nope.
Go wrong.
Nope. I don't think so. As a Yankee hater, I thought this was one of the best signings of the offseason. He is a legitimate pick up the ball and throw. Like, he works fast. This pitch clock isn't going to affect him. I think that he is a guy that's just going to go out there and just be himself. Like, he has that, I'm just going to chuck this ball past you mentality. So I think he's going to do good there. Obviously, there's a lot of strikeouts to be had in that AL East as well. So I think he's going to even have higher strikeout rate than he's had even in past years. So it's exciting to see.
All right, who you got at 2 and 3?
2 and 3, I think Dylan Cease coming in at 2. I think he had an amazing year last year. This is going to go one way or the other. Like, he's going to be Cy Young or he's going to just get blown up this year. He just has too many pitches that he can throw for strikes. And we've seen it in the no-hitter last year where he can just come out and be dominant any day of the week. And ideally, he just comes out and gets better this year. I mean, more experience should be better. Obviously, we've seen it go the other way where it can go completely the opposite direction, but I'm expecting good stuff from him. Seems like a really hard worker. And then 3, I have, obviously, you have to put him on the list, but there is a serious concern for injury with Jacob deGrom. I mean, he'll win the Cy Young if he doesn't get injured, pretty much. Unless something crazy happens, like kind of at the end of the year last year, he kind of lost his mojo a little bit, was getting hit up in the playoffs a little, but who knows?
Yeah, so my number 1 is Jacob deGrom. We'll see if he stays healthy or not. Obviously, big asterisks there. I do think he needs to start working on a third pitch based on what we saw at the end of last year. Like you said, he kind of got hit up a little bit.
He was working on that changeup. He was working on it last year, so hopefully he got better, but...
Yeah, so if he can mix in a third pitch, I think he goes back to being just absolutely dominant. But when you kind of eliminate, when you kind of make him into a two-pitch pitcher, fastball slider definitely makes it a little bit easier, but still electric stuff. At number two, I have Shohei Otani. He's a freak. He showed it again in the World Baseball Classic. He has arguably the nastiest stuff in the league. He sits at 100 miles an hour. He's proven now that he's durable. Um, I just think he keeps
Moose
getting
of a
better,
person.
especially
Oh, he's huge.
exactly. He's gigantic, and I think he just continues to get better on the mound, which is a big thing. Hitting obviously can go either way. Like you kind of know what you're going to get from Otani at this point with hitting, but I do think he just continues to get better on the mound. And then my number three,
One
and
second, real quick here. With
yeah,
Otani, if you guys just watch him, the thing that always comes out to me is how wide his shoulders are. He is legitimately a humongous human being. So if you haven't noticed that, just look at it. It's crazy.
yeah, I don't know what they put in the water over there, though, but the freak Japanese baseball players are genetically gifted like no one's business. It is crazy. Um, And my number three is going to be Luis Castillo. Absolutely was nasty in Seattle last year, dominated in the playoffs. Like
Good one.
he has the stuff to win Cy Young this year, plus 1600. I definitely think that's worth a sprinkle because if he does anything like he did in Seattle at the second half of the year, just absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, one of the nastiest changeups in the league, and he's really worked on his slider, and he's pumping 100 now. Like when he came into the league, I don't think anyone looked at him and was like, this guy's like a 100-mile-per-hour thrower. Like he's a good changeup guy. Like he makes his pitches, and then somehow his velo just keeps going up.
Yeah, just pulled it up right now. And when he was with Seattle, 3.17 ERA with only 17 walks and 65 innings. And he also had 77 strikeouts. So just really good stuff in Seattle.
Yeah. All right, going over to the NL Cy Young now. I'm pulling this one out of the back pocket. Hopeful
All right.
for a potential like end of the career push here. Clayton Kershaw is going to be my favorite. If he can stay healthy,
God.
Kershaw has shown that he still is a low 3 RA, if not lower than that when he's healthy. But over the past few years, obviously, he gets hurt. Like he has those back issues. If he can avoid that somehow, I would love to see Kershaw get another Cy Young. I think he's one of the most underrated pitchers of all time. Like the span that he had from 2011 to 2017 might be the best span of pitching ever in the MLB. And people just forget about it. And I don't know how, because he's just so dang good. But that's my number one pick. Coming in at number two, maybe a little bias here, I'm going to put Zach Allen in there. I think that he just keeps getting better. He has great control of all his pitches. There is that once in a while it starts where he just doesn't have his stuff. But even last year, he showed when he doesn't have his stuff, he can still work his way and get 4 or 5 good innings out of him. He doesn't really get hit up very often. Really good pitcher development. And I could see him being a Cy Young again. I think last year he could have been like getting some better votes than he did get. But, I think that he's a guy that a lot of people still are sleeping on because he's on the D-backs. And then third, I have Corbin Burns. I think he's the most consistent pitcher out there right now. He just has that dominating cutter that's like unhittable. So he is probably the safest bet.
Yeah, so Corbin Burns is my number one. I like you said, cutter is ridiculous. He just has electric stuff. He has a chip on his shoulder now because the Brewers basically told him that he was the reason
that was
why
weird.
they didn't make the postseason.
Like what?
Made no sense. So I think he's going to come out and shove. Maybe he gets traded at the deadline because he's not happy. So he's my number one. My number two, I mean, it's hard. It really is. I do like Gallen, but I'm actually going to keep him off my list. My number two this year, and I do like your Kershaw pick. I do like that one a lot. I'm going a similar direction. Blake Snell.
Ooh, I like that one.
So Blake Snell, he's again, what is this? His third season in San Diego, second full season? I can't remember.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's Blake Snell. He's unhittable when he can find the strike zone.
I just hope his pitching coach in the offseason just told him to throw fastballs. Like he has the best slider in baseball. If he spots his fastball, he's unhittable. Unhittable.
Yep. His slider is absolutely disgusting. And like you said, if he can get ahead of batters, like he's going to win the Cy Young. Like He just is. He's that good when he's ahead in the count. So that's really going to be the question mark there. And then my number 3 is going to be, I'm gonna throw Max Scherzer into the mix.
Hey,
Second
can't go
season
wrong.
in New York. He's durable. End of the career type guy. Who knows? Maybe Verlander will do it too. But I do like Max Scherzer. He's very special. And then as far as sleepers go, my 2 sleepers both play on the same team. Nick Lodolo and Hunter Green, both
Ooh,
just absolutely electric arms. Do I
yeah.
think they're going to win it? No, but they are sleepers and they have the stuff to do it. Similar to Blake Snell, if they can find the control, they're basically unhittable. And Hunter Green, that dude sits like 103 and he might strike out like 350 guys if he can get ahead in counts.
Seriously, if he can get some innings under him, because that's like part of his issue. He started figuring out the end of last year, but
Yep.
if he can get into like the 7 inning pitching games, like he's gonna strike out over 10 a game. Like it's just how it is. And then Lodolo is probably the hardest person to hit in the major leagues from the left hand side. Like that slider that he comes way from, like his arm angle is so weird when he throws his slider. Like it comes way off to the side. Like it's almost sidearm when he releases it, and it's just
Yeah, it's like Chris
disgusting.
Sale-esque.
Yeah, it's Chris Sale-esque for sure. And I just want to throw this out here. I like that neither of us said Sandy, because I think Sandy is going to get hit up this year, low key. I think
Yeah.
I think he has great stuff, obviously, but he is a pitch to contact hitter or pitcher, and that just in this day and age is not great. Like I think people are going to start figuring him out.
Yeah, I agree. I see regression this season with Sandy because of that. Like you said, he's pitch to contact stuff's nasty. But like with his stuff being so good, like you should be striking people out.
Yeah, he
Apparently,
has to
just
figure that
doesn't-
out.
He just doesn't have the stuff to strike out at high rate, I guess. I mean, the big thing with pitchers is getting hitters to chase out of the zone, and he just doesn't do that. It's weird to me.
He pounds the zone like no one's business, and obviously anyone would want him at
You're
the
gonna
top of their
get 200.
rotation.
You're gonna get 220 innings out of the guy, but
Yeah. And
we'll
then
see.
here's a hot take as well. I think Spencer Strider has a huge regression here.
I almost threw him in my top 3, but that's why I didn't, because he definitely could regress.
Yeah.
He wasn't that good in the minor leagues, to be
My
honest.
thought. That's my thought on it as well.
So we'll see. I mean, obviously, one pitching coach can make all of the difference in a pitcher, but we'll see.
Yeah, for sure.
I left him off just because. All right, American League MVP now. Rick, who you got?
All right, this is the easiest one in the books. He got screwed last year. It's Ohtani. I mean, Ohtani at number 1. I don't
100%.
think anyone can take anywhere other than him. I mean, obviously you can't argue because Judge had 60 home runs, but you're telling me that he got top 5 in Cy Young last year and still hit 30 plus home runs with a very good like OPS. Like, I'm sorry, he is the MVP every single year until he has either a bad hitting year or a bad pitching year. But I just don't know how he had a better year last year than the year before overall, if you ask me, and he didn't win MVP, but that's my MVP.
Yeah, it was pretty annoying last year. I think obviously Yankees fans and Aaron Judge being in New York was the big lean on Aaron Judge.
Everyone loves
but,
Judge too. Everyone loves him.
Yeah, he's awesome, dude. But yeah, like you said, top 5 in Cy Young. He was the MVP. I think he continues to be an MVP. It's just annoying to me that 2 years in now at this MVP run, they kind of made the Ohtani rule where like we're just going to treat him differently.
Yeah, so dumb. They
like,
did that for
only 2 years in.
LeBron. They did that
If
for
he
all
won
the
it-
greats, but like 2 years,
Exactly.
like come on.
Yeah, let him win it like 2 or 3 times in a row and then start kind of holding him to like an Ohtani line, I guess. Whereas like, is he doing better than the previous years, or is he that much better than everyone else? But like to do that last year was just dumb to me. So yeah, so Ohtani's my number 1 as well. Who do you got at number 2?
Number 2, I have Yordan Alvarez, the Moose, the Ginormo.
Don't love it.
Don't love it? Okay. Well,
Don't love it.
He has a great approach, obviously. He can hit power to all fields. I mean, he had the second highest OPS in baseball last year, I believe, behind Judge. The dude, I just don't see any regression with him. His swing is so easy. He has the best looking swing in baseball. I just don't see how he can get worse. Like, he's going to have to get injured or something for him to go down. There's going to have to be something that screws up his confidence or something to where it's just not going to work, because the dude rakes. Wait, so I just want to know, why do you think that he's not going to be that guy?
It's just hard to make an MVP out of a DH. I mean, he does play left field more now, which is good. I don't know what their lineup's going to look like this season with some more prospects coming up. So if he is in left field, that gives him a better chance because he's playing the field. But it's so difficult to win MVP as a DH. It is ridiculous. He'll have to hit 60 home runs. Like,
He might.
so that's why, yeah, he could. He could. So that's why I don't like that pick. At my number 2, I mean, I got to stick with the same team, the freaking Angels. They have 2 MVPs on their team. Mike Trout, if he stays
Fair.
healthy, shows again and again that he's the best player in baseball. If Otani has any regression, if Aaron Judge has any regression, like he's going to be right there in the conversation. He hit 40 home runs last year in like barely 100 games.
Yeah, I think he had like 119 games or something. But
yeah, like it's ridiculous. He's basically a shoe-in to have 40 plus home runs, hit 290 plus with probably a 430 on base percentage. Like I do think he needs to walk more this year. But I mean, it's Mike Trout.
yeah. And then third for me here, obviously you can't go wrong with Trout. Going for number 3 on mine, I got Julio Rodriguez.
I knew you were going to put Julio.
I love J-Rod,
bitch.
but it's not biased. I mean, he came out last year and exceeded most people's expectations for a rookie. He's another guy. He's got everything you want. He can go get you bags. He can go hit for power. He can hit for average pretty good. I mean, he plays really good defense, like legitimately gold glove caliber defense. We've seen multiple big plays out of him. I mean, I would like to see him in the MVP race. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean, he's great. He definitely has to make a big jump if he wants
That's
to be in the conversation,
100%.
which I think they're expecting him to, but you never know, sophomore slump-ish. My number 3 is going to be Jose Ramirez. The Indians, or I guess the Guardians, my bad. The Guardians, they're a legitimate World Series contender this year. In my opinion, they're going to all get better from where they were last year. I thought they were the scariest team in the postseason to play with how scrappy they are. And every scrappy team has to have one veteran that just goes nuts. And Jose Ramirez has showed time and time again that he can go just bananas.
The dude he is not appreciated enough, honestly. The dude absolutely rakes, switch hitter. I mean, good defense. Dude can move. Like, he's a great baseball player. He doesn't get enough credit.
Exactly. So I think we see a step up with him as well.
And it is great that you mentioned that the Indians or Guardians, whoever they are, they're going to be good this year. Again, they're just going to get better. There's just so much young talent around him. And obviously, we've seen in the past, your team needs to be good for you to win the MVP. It's just how it works.
Yeah. And then as far as sleepers go for the MVP, it's tough. I mean, you have Alex Bregman at plus 6,000, he has the best eye in baseball. He proved that last year. He had the best, or I guess worst chase rate out of the zone. Like he swung out the least amount of pitches out of the strike zone last year. He's freaking ridiculous.
So
it's
good.
Crazy to me that
Insane.
he's plus 6,000 and Kyle Tucker's plus 2,500. Like Bregman's clearly the better player. So which is strange to me. I think Bregman still just gets a lot of hate from the Astros cheating season. So I guess he'd probably be my biggest sleeper. Also, Rafael Devers continues to freaking rake in Boston. And Boston is going to be way better this year. Like they're going to be a contender in the East this year.
You think?
Yeah, with a couple of their pickups, they have Yoshida now. They
did lose their shortstop though. And Bogarts. We'll see how they play out. Obviously, Boston, you can go one way or the other.
We'll see what Chris Sale gives them this year.
Exactly, if he can stay healthy. I have, for my sleepers, I had Judge and Trout. Woohoo, big deal. I mean, and I just put next to their name, injuries. We saw Judge last year without injury win an MVP. I mean, if Judge stays healthy, if Trout stays healthy, probably the 2 best baseball players out there. So, had to throw that out there. I like that neither of us had Judge on our list somehow, but it's funny.
He hasn't really done it 2 years in a row, so that's the only reason I don't.
That's fair. I mean, I just wish he played in a bigger part, in my opinion. But he's gonna hit a bunch of home runs.
Yeah.
NL MVP.
NL MVP. My favorite and the book's favorites by a lot so far is Juan Soto at plus 550. He's just
I didn't even look at the books. I had Soto at number 1 too.
Yeah. So
bounce back year.
Bounce back year. So the only question mark is, can he figure it out in San Diego? And I think he obviously can. He's just too good of a player not to. The Padres are going to be legit. Tatis comes back.
And you
And
can't pitch
Machado comes
around him.
back.
You can't
You
pitch
can't
around him.
pitch around him. Like, he's protected. So I do think adding Tatis back into that lineup is going to help Soto a ton.
They also added Xander Bogaerts.
Yeah.
That
And
lineup is
yeah,
so
exactly.
dumb.
Yeah, it's crazy. So Juan Soto's my number 1.
That's fair. I had him at 1, 2. Coming in at number 2 for me, I have Nolan Arenado. I think he pulls it off this year finally. I think there's a chance. He has put up so many good numbers over the years, and there's just always someone just slightly better. And with hitting behind Goldie, I think there's just so many opportunities for him to do what he did last year, but even better. So that's why I got Arenado too. And obviously he's going to go get another Gold Glove probably.
Yep, completely fair. You're getting arguably platinum glove third baseman out of Arenado, so his WAR is always going to be solid for that. Plus, he just rakes, like you said. I like it. My number 2, and people might say this is a long shot, but Fernando Tatis Jr.
Isn't he out like 50 games still, or how many games is he out? Does he miss?
Quick.
Because that's the thing. Because I was thinking about putting him on mine. Because it's Tatis. He has unlimited talent. Like, he's obviously the golden child if he's out there. But is he going to stay healthy? 1. And 2, how many games is he going to play? Because people might just take him off the list if he missed 30 games right off the bat.
So Tatis is eligible to return April 20th. So literally
1 week.
Going to miss like 1 or 2 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's definitely a fair pick then. I like it.
Why? The reason I have this, and a lot of people are like, well, he hasn't played in a long time, blah, 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 blah.
Playing at spring training.
Yeah. I think Fernando Tatis Jr. might be the best player of all time coming off of injury. Or not playing. It's actually insane. Like, multiple times 2 seasons ago, he got hurt, missed 2 weeks, and in baseball, like, missing 2 weeks is huge. Comes back, hits like 2 home runs the first game. It's like, how do you do that? That doesn't even make sense. So Fernando Tatis, the
raw talent, it's just crazy.
And he's steroided up now.
They just roided out.
So that's my number 2, and then my number 3, I'm putting Paul Goldschmidt back up there.
Okay.
It's a long shot to me, but I mean, he's protected in that lineup, and I think he just has another good season, similar to Nolan Arenado. I think one of those two have a legitimate chance to win it this season.
All right, and then number 3 for me, I went a little sleeper on my third pick here. Austin Riley.
I like it.
I think that that team's still just stacked. He can't pitch around the guy. Obviously, he absolutely crushes righties. And that's a big thing for most right-handed hitters. That's where they kind of fall off a little bit, but that guy might be the best in the MLB. I just think he has so much room that he can even get better. So I could see it. Braves are going to be good. I mean, in my sleepers, cool. Did you want to say anything about Riley? You got any opinions on him?
I think he's legit. I mean, legit, probably top 5 bat in the NL these days, or at least top 10. And just has such a clutch factor about him. It seems like he comes through every single time they need him. It's actually ridiculous.
Yeah, that's why I love him. Then my sleepers, I had Goldie as a sleeper for mine because they never give back-to-back MVPs usually.
It's true.
And my other sleeper I had on there, God damn Padres, why you got so much talent? Manny Machado. I mean,
yeah,
the dude still is up there like playing great defense. Arenado level defense, but Arenado always wins it over him. And then he just signed a new contract, so he's happy. And I mean, it's Machado. I mean, he's gonna go into the Hall of Fame someday. He already has been playing in the league for like 11 seasons or something crazy. It's just what he does. He almost won MVP last year, but he had a big slump. If he stays away from it, he might win it.
Yep, he's always right there on the cusp. So I like it. My 2 sleepers, Francisco Lindor.
Okay.
I think the chance is always there for him. It's just whether he does it or not. If he can stay consistent, because when he's hot, he's arguably the best player in baseball when he's on. But again, he's kind of streaky sometimes, so that's why he's a sleeper. And then my super, super sleeper, and I'm playing into just the hype on this player, and it's a super sleeper. Plus 7,000. Jazz Chisholm Jr.
Oh no!
And listen, hear me out. And this is not because I think he's going to win MVP. I'm playing into the hype. He's on MLB The Show for no reason on the cover. Like, there was zero reason why he should have been on the cover this year. Like, no reason at all. Like, zero negative reason why he should have been the cover player. So, like,
fan favorite.
He needs to show out for that. he's randomly on the MVP betting odds after doing pretty much nothing like his career so far. He's put up some streaky weeks here and
So
there.
you're just saying the books are gonna they're seeing
like,
something.
I feel like the world wants Jazz to be good this year, and I don't know why or how, but like we'll see.
Yeah. All right. That's fair. I like it. It's a good sleeper pick for sure. You don't want to jump on the Trey Turner hype after the World Baseball Classic? He's going to hit 40 home runs and steal 40 bases? Come on.
You know what you're getting out of Trey Turner. He's been in the league too long. He's 30 years old. Like, you know what you're getting out of Trey Turner.
He's not going to get any better. It's not like he's going off and gaining muscle in the offseason. He's going to hit bombs. No, he just ran into some balls.
They interviewed him on the World Baseball Classic, and he's like, I barely work out.
Yeah, he's just a baseball player at the end of the day.
Exactly.
Cool. Well, that's it, everyone. Those are our predictions from our sports. We love baseball. Baseball is probably our biggest sport around here if you guys have been around the channel.
Yep.
It is going to be an exciting year. Man, we'll probably have a prediction video coming out in the next few days, weeks about more stuff about baseball coming up. Obviously, we want to know who's going to win the entire thing, World Series, or who's going to win each division. We'll try to make some content around that, but it's exciting stuff, guys. MLB season it's just coming. It's coming in hot. So
it's almost here.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Appreciate you guys. Have a great rest of your day. Peace.